Welcome to the virtual day at the zoo. My name's Mark. I'm working with our gorillas today. What I have in this handily labelled bucket is some walnuts for the gorillas. We're going to do a little Easter egg trail, but with walnuts instead of eggs. So I'm going to place them all out here. So yeah, there are quite a few handy nooks and crannies. And they do eat a lot of different browse items, the gorillas, so you kind of see a lot of this lying around as well, just chewed bark. Well, at the minute, Kahili is mopping up those leftover walnuts. She was actually born here in Jersey. She's the daughter of Jambo, our first silverback that we had here. Kishka down here, so Kish is our oldest gorilla and born in Kent. So she's into her 40s now. Just tucking into some grass. So as mentioned before, this entire outside area effectively is a meal if they want to collect it. So even after enjoying some walnuts, I noticed Kahili found another one. You always hear the crunch. Here he comes. Thank you, Badongo. Even after enjoying their main meals, even if it's like a big lunch that they have afterwards, they'll still usually just carry on eating. And that tends to be grass or any leftover forage and browse that we've given them earlier on. We've been cutting down a couple of fruit trees around the zoo just to promote a little bit more growth, and it's a really nice browse for them because even the bark they quite enjoy the taste of, so they'll like strip that through their mouth or just sort of stare at us with it in their mouth. But and Badongo, our only male, he was born in France. The gorillas that we have are Western lowland gorillas. There are 4 different types of gorilla. You've got 2 in the west and 2 in the east. And these are the more populated species of gorilla. The recent estimates are around 200,000, 250, which just sound like a lot, but actually it's still a massive decline on what they used to be. So actually for these animals, their drop and the kind of speed that the numbers are dropping is what kind of puts them into a critically endangered status. And you've got critically endangered Western lowland gorillas, cross river gorilla and eastern, both critically endangered too, and then mountain gorillas are now the only endangered gorilla species, but that's a recovery, which is really nice. In mentioning protecting the habitat that they come from, these animals do suffer a lot from illegal poaching. There's a lot of different trades around the world for different body parts, that kind of thing. Still just showing off at us. And so a lot of this trade really does threaten their numbers, but also a lot of it is just used as bushmeat. A huge amount of gorillas are just basically shot and eaten as food, unfortunately, which really hits their numbers quite hard. And then coupled with that, you have huge amounts of deforestation in their habitat. In terms of deforestation for them, a lot of it is trees that are being cut down to produce different goods, but actually quite a lot of destructive areas of habitat revolve around the usage of mines. There's a lot of mining that takes place in gorilla habitat. This usually revolves around a material called coltan. Coltan is used in smartphones, so then you have that huge demand for this product in their habitat. A lot of problems that kind of link to the mining, it's actually more to do with the poaching side of it, because the mines typically are quite remote and workers do not want to travel a huge distance to buy food. They'll just kind of live in that area and they'll hunt in the surrounding area to support themselves. So the mining industry is really heavily linked to, again, bushmeat. Also with gorilla habitats, you do get a lot of road access being built to these logging areas, the mining areas. Roads inherently are not a danger to us. For the gorillas, these roads create this huge network of access for people who are trying to get into new areas to exploit these animals. And so if you have an instance where an area of habitat was, an hour's trekking or an hour's very difficult trekking through very rough terrain, and then somebody's just built this wonderful new road, slap bang all the way through it, yeah, fine. Loggers need access to these milling areas and what have you, but actually that means a poacher can now just be like, okay, well that's now just a 15-minute drive. This is way easier. I'm going to try and exploit these animals. So between each gorilla, you do get a lot of different personality, different preferences, likes, dislikes. Even between keepers, they can be pretty varied with how they react to different stuff. And between who we can see at the moment, Kishka just at the back there, she's sort of very much, I feel, taking a retirement now. As a sort of older gorilla, she's less involved with gorilla politics and just loves any rewards that we're willing to give her. She is an excellent trainer. So yeah, just behind where Kishka was sat before, if you can see just up on the slope through that bamboo, that is Bahasha. She should have her little daughter Amari with her too. So it'd be really nice if we head around. You see she's still clinging onto mum's chest. We have seen little snippets of piggybacking, which I've promised in a lot of Durrell videos for the last 6 months. The most I've seen was a 15-minute stint last week, and I loved it. But eventually she should spend more time on mum's back than on the front. She does still feed off of mum, so in terms of development that will still happen for another 1.5 years or so. We are feeding her a lot more of her own items of food inside too. She will eat a lot of things. She's quite into tomatoes at the minute. She loves any fruit she's given. Stuff she doesn't like, fennel this morning, gave her some fennel for breakfast, just dropped it on mum's head, and mum didn't really mind because she ate it anyway. But there are some items that she isn't really that sure about. Swede and turnip are another like, yeah. Again, Bahasha here is just eating all the grass, but I've watched Amari copy her and sort of start foraging as well. So I did see the two of them together in the clump of bamboo. And so Amari was kind of dragging these bigger branches down, but to get to him, she would just climb on mum's head just to really get that reach. Thank you, Badongo. Thank you for joining me on this lovely day virtually. I hope you do enjoy the rest of your day with us. I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks.